Now, through the miracles of modern technology, zany worldwide banner featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim in an on-topic, off-topic free-for-all. Welcome to the Gun Talk After Show.
And welcome to the Gun Talk After Show, featuring Paul Markel and everybody else. So, how's that sound?
That's pretty comprehensive.
They know who we are.
They know who we are. Michelle, Jim, Cubby, Roy, Mouseketeer roll call. And we just lost half the audience with that. We could do, Jarrad, you want to do the romper room?
Yeah, let's do.
I was just thinking romper room.
And
I didn't
call
know what
out.
that was.
Romper, bomper,
Man,
stomper,
I didn't know what
boo.
that was.
Boo, that's right. Who do I see? I see Billy. I see George.
Oh my God, are we old?
I see everyone.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh yeah. I was 5 years old, jumping up and down the living room. She said my name. Oh, she sees me in my living room on channel 50.
Right.
Black and white, channel 50 with the rabbit ears.
WKBD, Detroit.
Wow.
I don't remember.
That's right. We used to, exactly, channel 50.
Yep.
And then we could get the Canadian Windsor station. If the weather was just right, we could get the Canadian station
That's
across the
right.
river. Channel 9.
Yeah.
Channel 9 Windsor. What's that all about?
Go have a Molson, eh?
What's that? Well, your toque, eh? Oh no! I remember going over the Ambassador Bridge or the Windsor Tunnel, and it was really super easy. The biggest hassle that we had was that my parents had to dig the seat belts out of the back seat. Because when you were a kid and you had a station wagon, the seat belts in the back seat were just crammed all the way, underneath it.
Right.
But when we went to Canada, we had to reach underneath the seat and dig out all the lap belts so that everybody had a belt on when we crossed into Canada. That was the big thing. They were
Going
like
on the Queens Highway,
police.
eh?
They look in your. Oh, everybody got their seat belt on there. Okay, I got one for you, Jim. You remember Boblo Island?
Absolutely.
The Boblo boat.
Yeah.
The Boblo boat. That's right. Going on the Bob. I saw that they were going to turn it into a condo complex or something like that.
Yeah, they're doing that. They turned Belle Isle into something really cool. And today they had a big Detroit Marathon, and they ran to Windsor through the bridge and came back out the tunnel, and had a big shindig there this morning.
Oh, they ran through the tunnel?
Yeah.
Dude, when I was in the tunnel, I remember almost choking to death on exhaust fumes in that tunnel. They must have cleaned it up pretty good. Oh, wow. And I remember water leaking from the ceiling. And my parents were like, oh, it's okay, it always leaks. Okay.
That's reassuring.
You say so.
Paul, we've got two callers on the line. Let's grab them before they decide to go to Detroit for all of our Chamber of Commerce pitch we just did.
Who are we going to take first?
George in New York. You with us, George?
Yeah, I sure am. I'm in Orange County, and believe it or not, it's snowing.
A little too soon for that.
Snow.
Oh, congratulations.
It's not real snow. It's like little bitty puffy balls. Anyway, it's bright sunshine, and it's snowing, and I'm actually in my tree stand on a hunting platform, and the sound in the background is a big airplane going in, a big military plane all of a sudden going into Stewart Airport. You mentioned Canada. I just want to say I got busted on the Canadian border. The going into Canada, the Canadian Guard saw my NRA and New York State Rifle and Pistol Association stickers and decals and everything, and he just brought out a list and started at the top and got down to the point where he said pepper spray, and I was busted.
Don't you know how dangerous that is?
I know. So I had to go in and get my name and everything and hand it to them, and I said, I'm not getting this back, am I? And they were like, no, you're not getting it back. So, but anyway,
are you crazy?
Well, yeah, I knew I wasn't getting it back, but I just wanted one point I wanted to mention in your discussion, one of the things in New York City, the criminals do, like they do every place else, is they use pellet guns and BB guns to hold people up. Because who's going to really know in New York City that's a BB gun? But there's one unusual thing about New York City. All BB guns, pellet guns, any paintball guns, they're all banned anyway. So even the BB guns are banned in New York City. And people still get the BB guns and use them. There must be the lax BB gun laws in the southern states that are causing this affliction on.
Well, that's what it is. It's the rampant availability of BB guns in Virginia and the fact that the Daisy factory continues to produce these weapons of death. I don't know how people can live in New York City?
I'm like an hour away, so like I said, I got one doe on the 5th, and if I'd been here earlier today, I'd have gotten another one. But they must be able to buy those BB guns next to the stores that sell drugs and heroin and stuff like that down in Virginia, right? You do have lax drug laws down there.
Exactly.
So
if you make it illegal, no one will have it.
Yeah, see how good that's working out.
Ken from Coos Bay, Oregon, what's on your mind today?
Well, I have to say I've enjoyed your show, and where else can we listen to the radio and some guy be in a deer stand talking to us?
There you go.
I have to agree with you. Over the last 80 years, Americans have been lulled to sleep, and some of those people are awake now. Some of those people don't give a damn, and those people will never wake up. My concern, though, is, like, I understand some of the states like California, that's probably a ship that's going down, and if you stay there long enough, you're going to get sucked in by the suction. But like here in Oregon, recently, you probably know about it, Oregon Senate Bill 941 was passed, which basically banned the private sales of guns without having background check done, which they quickly made it to where, like, for instance, if you and if I was going to go out hunting with my buddy and he didn't particularly have a rifle, I couldn't even loan him my hunting rifle without doing a background check on him first. And before they even passed these laws, the politicians put out their little feelers and said, well, let us know what you think about that. Well, not only did the citizens tell the politicians this is a bad law enforcement told politicians this is a bad law. A lot of our county sheriffs said we will not enforce this law if you pass it. But they went ahead and passed it anyway. And the reigning party in our state, won't mention who that is, but the reigning party basically, they're in power, and we don't seem to be like the state of Colorado when they got rid of their politicians that were out of order. We don't seem to either have the gumption or whatever to get it done. But my question is, I understand, the idea of, well, okay, if a state is bad enough, well, we should just leave. But my question is this: how much ground can we give up in a war?
Well, all right, every person, and I know what you're saying about Oregon. We've actually paid attention to the Oregon story. We have a lot of listeners out there in Oregon, and we applauded them. We gave them a goatee moment for basically defying the tyranny, standing in the open and swapping firearms, swapping guns with each other in defiance of that. We actually did it after the Oregon deal. We did a YouTube video where we did a gun swap Sunday, where we basically told you how to do it. But you're right. You have to, at some point in time, every free man, every liberty-loving citizen has to say, all right, am I going to stay or am I going to go? And I don't know what the solution is. I can't tell you what to do in your neighborhood. I can tell you this, that if we keep waiting for the top to fix itself, it's never going to happen. They're never going to wake up one morning in D.C. and say, we really have been kind of oppressive. Let's go ahead and dial it down a little bit. The people, they've been good. The peasants have been good. Let's take it back. Or it's not going to happen. If it's going to start, if we're going to re-inspire the republic, I guess you could say, it's going to start with you and your friends and neighbors, and everybody needs to understand what their rights and responsibilities are as a citizen. And I think that's the biggest problem we have as a nation is that the people who are supposed to be in charge, and I'm not talking about welfare tax slaves and people like that. I'm talking about the people that get up every day, go to work, have jobs, have careers, pay their taxes, that are supporting this behemoth, this monster with their money. Those are the people that are supposed to be in charge. But sadly, most of them, the majority, seem to not know that. They seem to not understand that they're supposed to be in charge and what their responsibilities are as a citizen. And let's face it, the United States, everybody jump in, Jim, Michelle, Jarrad, whatever. It's this comfort uber alles situation that we're in today in America, that I'm more concerned about Dancing with the Stars or fantasy football or all this other nonsense because it's a distraction from reality, and I've just surrendered to whatever. All right, and with that, we're going to go to a break.
No matter what gun you have, you want it to hit harder, shoot faster and flatter, and be more accurate. You get all that with the ammunition from Double Tap. Double Tap's experts select the best bullets, then load them to higher velocities while keeping safe pressures. Shoot small groups. Shoot farther. Use custom hunting loads in your handgun or rifle. Even fire 2 projectiles with one shot. DoubleTapAmmo.com. That's DoubleTapAmmo.com.
The Ruger LCR EX is a variation of the LCR that features an external hammer, allowing it to be fired in single action mode. The LCR EX can also be fired in double action mode. It features a monolithic frame made from aerospace grade 7000 series aluminum, a patented Ruger friction reducing cam that results in a smooth, non-stacking trigger pull, and a patent pending polymer fire control housing that significantly reduces weight and helps reduce recoil. The Ruger LCR EX Revolver, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
I'm not the only hippie that's on the line right now. I know that there are at least 3 other hippies that have microphones turned on, so somebody else.
I do have long hair.
Say something, hippies. All right, Michelle?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
How come women don't call in?
They do call in. Actually,
I know they're listening.
They are listening.
She just never tells us.
I take care of them on my
no,
own.
I'm the only woman here.
No.
They all stick together. Yeah, she answers their questions. You don't need to be on the air. That's fine. I'm the authority here.
I have my own co-show. While Gun Talk is going on, I have the female Gun Talk going on as well.
You don't need to ask Tom that question, honey. I can answer it for you.
It's called Gun Talk and Nails.
We have lots of women call in, but I think you're exactly right here, Paul. I think part of the problem that we are facing today is we being gun owners, are being seen as irrational people because we have come to the point where we have suddenly put our feet in the ground and we're being drugged and we're not wanting to give anything up. We're tired of it. And I think part of the problem that we have is, one, the media portrays us being that way. And instead of trying to figure out what we're going to do about the problem, we want to be concerned with what the motivation is behind a person pulling the trigger. Well, we need to know that, but we need to fix the problem. And you don't have to be a gun person to be concerned about rights being taken away. If they can take away this right, everything else that falls underneath it is being taken away too. I mean, your grandchildren, any kind of future generation that's coming up is going to be affected by this.
Well, 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I guess it was, Obama passed he signed an executive order that says you can't be gathering in protest, Paul, when Secret Service is present?
Yeah, any person.
He said a bad word on the radio.
No, yeah, he said that. No, any person it qualifies for Secret Service protection that impeding, interfering, all this verb. Basically, if you annoy a person that is somehow under Secret Service protection, you can be arrested for that. So much for that First Amendment thing.
Yeah, exactly. The cool side to that is the massive civil disobedience, like in Oregon last week for the funeral of those folks. And Obama came to town. They had reports of up to 8,000 people protesting right down there in the path as he was driving by, totally disregarding the law. It's kind of hard to arrest 8,000 people at one time.
Yeah. Well, see, that's something that Jim, that I cannot fathom for the life of me is these people, for instance, in Connecticut, and I'm not going to get off this, you need to get off the Connecticut thing. Nope, sorry, I'm not getting off that. Every time I see the photo of those Connecticut slaves standing in line to seek permission from the commissar, to continue to own their lawfully purchased property. Yeah. It makes me sick. It makes me almost violently ill. We're like, and there was hundreds upon hundreds of those people standing in line. I mean, the line was so long that you couldn't even recognize the people at the end, And they're like, well, that wasn't everybody, Paul. Come on, that was just a small percentage of gun owners in Connecticut. And and I said, all right, those are gun owners. Oh yeah, they're people that own black rifles and stuff like that. I'm like, where are their guns? Well, what do you mean? Well, where are they? Well, they're locked at home in the safe where they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Oh, all right. Now I get it. So Jefferson and Madison and all those dudes, they guaranteed us that right to keep and bear arms so that we could lock them in the safe and keep them where they're supposed to be. Thanks for explaining that to me.
Yeah, the Second Amendment's all about sporting. You know that.
No, it's the right to hunt.
It's outdated, and we need to revise it anyway. So
right.
Right now would be the time. Let's do it right now.
Well, and the way that we see things, and we have a local gun store here, and we do a lot of education of people with basic training, with advanced training, with CCWs. I think with the CCW, people try to be more concerned with preventing a crime or being involved in a crime. So in lots of ways, it makes them a better citizen. I'm just going to throw that out there, because they have to ask permission and they have to do this and you have to wear it here and you can't go there. There's all these laws that have been thrown at us that, maybe you're not going to get into a fist fight, or maybe it'll calm the road rage. There's all kinds of aspects that I think it has changed lives on. And more women being involved in this, I guess, movement is what I'm going to call it, is an awesome thing. More education for future, and hopefully we can, get control of this.
We are in a strange point in the world right now, where if you look at FBI uniform crime statistics, the fact of the matter is, if we believe the FBI, and if we think they're not, fudging the crime statistics, and I don't know why they would fudge them in that direction, but right. The fact is that crime is actually at an all-time low, mm-hmm. and violent crime, gun crime, so in most parts of the nation. But to watch the news, you would never think that. Mm-hmm. You would never believe that. Concealed carry permits are at a nationwide all-time high. There's more in the United States of America than in the history of the entire United States of America. There's no arguing that. And at the same time, crime is down, but turn on the news, read the paper, whatever, and they're just clamoring for more and more. What should scare the pants off of every single person that's currently listening to me is the fact that Democrat politicians are openly running full bore on gun control. That is, in our lifetimes, that has never been the case. Democrats and socialists and leftists, they've always been for gun control, but they always keep their mouth shut about it until after the election, and then they're safe, and then they start doing it. Even Clinton, as far hardcore leftist as he was, he's more of a fascist, but he's like, hunting and sporting and legitimate gun ownership and blah, 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 blah. They always curb their talk until after they've won, and they're like, well, I've won now. There's nothing you peasants can do about it, so here you go. But it's unheard of for a politician in a general election to openly promote gun control. Until now.
Did you hear?
And why is that?
Did you hear Hillary say something? She brought up gun confiscation.
Yeah, we need to closely take a look at what they did in Australia. And consider that as a viable option.
Right.
Great. Let's get knifed.
And yeah.
Well, we better start the black market now. Well, it's pretty big in Australia.
In 2012, everyone who's listening, remember this. In 2012, I think it was debate number 2. Comrade Barry said something about how people don't need to own certain kinds of guns, and there's no legitimate sporting use or some nonsense about that. I don't listen to Comrade Barry deliberately, but I know for a fact that in the second debate that he brought up gun control and restrictions and so forth. And when that happened, I had a chill up the back of my spine, because I know that in a general election, you never talk about gun control. You always wait. And when that happened, I knew that they had already counted the votes. He was quite frankly, Comrade Barry was bored with those. He was bored with the debates. He didn't want to be there. Didn't realize, he knew that they had already tallied up the votes. The votes had been counted, and he was just going through the motions. He wasn't afraid that the American gun-owning public was going to get angry at him and not vote for him.
He had a tea time he had to get to, Paul.
Yeah, he had a tea time, but the fact that these Democrat politicians, the Sanders and Hillary and all those, that they went public and that they're hammering on this, it should scare the crap out of you, because what they're being told by their strategists and the people that count their votes for them is that they don't need to worry about these pro-gun people. We don't need to court the pro-gun people. We don't even need to pretend to court the pro-gun people. I mean, even Kumo goes out and puts on a freaking pheasant hunting vest and walks through a cornfield for a photo op. You know, even Biden and those ninnies, you know, they put on the pheasant hunting vest and they go walk through a cornfield. Look, I'm a sportsman. I protect your hunting rights. You know, even those far left idiots will do that. But because they know that there are enough mush-brain gun owners in America that, well, I don't care about assault rifles. I just hunt. They know that there are enough of those people out there that they can kind of just sway, I guess you could say. But the fact that they've already decided that they're just going to throw away the pro-gun vote or the hunting vote or the whatever vote should scare the crap out of you.
You said they haven't talked guns prior to elections generally as a rule of thumb as a safety measure, and I get that. And now is different. It's something has changed, and that carries forward into Bernie Sanders. I mean, just last week on his interview, he admitted he was a progressive socialist. I mean, they never would have done that, but I mean, they were, but they would never admit it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They always pretended like, you know, and now it's like I said.
People are so distracted they don't care.
Yeah, you should be concerned. People should really be concerned when they don't even have to hide anymore. That the voting public is so ignorant or so easily bought that, you know, someone admitting that they're a socialist. Didn't he say something like democratic socialism? Didn't he use that word?
Dude, the first time I heard him say anything on TV, he said the term redistribution of wealth. That came out of his mouth. And I was like, I'm not listening to this dude.
Wasn't East Germany the Democrat Socialist Republic of Germany?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't they call themselves the Democratic Socialist Republic or something like that?
We've got to get a hold of the Holocaust survivor that lives down here that I met with. We got to get a hold of her and get her on the radio because I talked to her a little bit and she said that she fears for what this nation is in for because she lived through the Holocaust and she sees what's coming. It's ridiculous.
Germany in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And everybody thinks that, like, Hitler just woke up one morning, walked out with the Gestapo and started rounding people up. And it didn't happen like that. It took years. It took years and years of ginning people up and separating the people into small classes so that they were easier to control and, you know, vilifying one certain segment of the population so that they were no longer seen as humans.
But they couldn't have done any of that without confiscating guns.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's always part of it. But the fact is, you know, if you watch, like, the Diary of Anne Frank or what have you, and the thing that struck me most about the movie, The Diary of Anne Frank, the most recent one, was the fact that, you know, way before they started forcing them onto trains and, you know, into trucks and making them disappear, the Jews in Germany and well, everywhere that Germany controlled had been put into second-class citizen status. They didn't just wake up one morning and say, round up all the Jews. It took a long time, and they vilified them, and they made them seem like, you know, subhuman. And, well, it's okay to make the Jews disappear because they're less than you anyway. And right now, you have a really super hardcore press on anybody who supports the Constitution, Christians, gun owners, and so forth. They're being portrayed in the big media as unreasonable, hateful, bigoted, and so forth. So in America, you know, let's face it, the worst thing you can be in America is a racist. You could be a rapist, and it would be better than being a racist. If you want to take somebody down, if you want to take a politician down, you tag them with a racist label, and that's the worst thing you could be.
How about a rapist?
Not a rapist. So, and sadly, how many of your friends and neighbors give more of a crap about their fantasy football league than preserving the republic?
Absolutely.
I got to go play FanDuel.
Yep. Well, I don't even know.
You haven't heard ads for that?
No, I don't.
Well, and I think, Paul,
you know you could win $15 million with.
We may have to take another break then if there's $15 million involved.
But I was going to say, I think part of the problem is that we tend to be very set, and I don't want to put everybody into the we compound, so, I mean, this can be figured out, but not wanting to even listen to any Democratic debate or the opposing side of things, I think tends to limit our ability to comprehend and speak and further press on with where we want to go. I mean, I think this is the opportunity we have as American law-abiding citizens who actually are in control of the government in some way, have to make a political stance and send a message that this is our government. We're supposed to be letting you know what we want to do. And somewhere in all of these years, we've lost that connection.
Oh, yeah, we abdicated our responsibility as citizens, and we just assumed that everybody in the government, at the end of the day, some have an R behind their name and some have a D behind their name. But, at the end of the day, every one of them is an American. And every one of them believes in the founding and the Constitution and so forth. And the fact is, they don't.
No, and
they don't all believe in that.
And there's an agenda. Every politician, every political movement has an agenda. It might not be out there, like some of the stuff is very obvious right now, but I think we need to do some digging and not just let the media represent who the people are.
Well, the people that listen to this show, they get it. But the thing that's sad or strange is it's like we're fighting this huge uphill battle because people should get it, and it dumbfounds me when people will listen to this show or Student of the Gun or what have you, and then they jump in on a Facebook conversation and say, well, I don't think that, calling people names that's not the way to go. It's like, oh, really, you're afraid to offend your enemy? If you're afraid to offend your enemy, you've lost.
Yeah, because they're surely not waiting to call you out.
You've lost. Oh, yeah. If your biggest fear is that your enemy will think that you're unreasonable, you've lost. Just go sit down and wait for the stormtroopers to come. They're on their way. They've got a truck for you. But yeah, this whole fear that people on CNN might not think we're reasonable, so we have to couch our beliefs to seem reasonable.
The way things have been laid out, we've pussified our country. We've done everything to make things cozy for people and comfortable. So when things are a little uncomfortable, it's foreign territory to them. They don't know.
Oh, they fear discomfort. They fear it. The worst thing in the world that you can be is uncomfortable. You're absolutely right. We have a little phrase that we call vagination, and we do a vagination report. We have a trophy, actually.
Do
that
you?
We can award people for vagination. But yeah. We have people that are more afraid of being uncomfortable than they are of losing their liberty. Read the preamble to the Declaration of Independence. Read the beginning of it. They knew 230 years ago, 40 years ago, they knew that people were more inclined to remain comfortable until they just couldn't stand it anymore. They knew. It's right there. And we're to the point now where people are so comfortable and they're so distracted by shiny things and gadgets and what have you. They have no clue or understanding, and God knows they're not getting it in school. They're not being taught civic duty and responsibility and Bill of Rights and all that stuff. They're being taught about Earth Day and gender sensitivity training and all kinds of mush. We're creating legions of mush-brained oxygen thieves, graduating them out into the world with an inability to have any kind of rational thought.
Meanwhile, in Russia, you got Putin doing sambo with the kids, sambo and judo with the kids. You got he's actually, what would you say he was doing? Loosening the gun restrictions.
Oh yeah. Actually, Russia's loosening their gun restrictions. Yeah. But yeah, no, we've got a legions of mush brains oxygen thieves that would graduate every year in June, push out into the world.
Sometimes I take for granted the amount of information that I consume because I'm just around it every day. I'm around you every day, so I just assume that what I know is everybody knows. But I mean, we had a couple people post on the Facebook page like, "Oh, I'd never heard of that." I'm like, "Dude, that was like 2 years ago." But
where have you been? Yeah. Listen louder.
Well, and I think that's the biggest objective that we face is, yes, the people in our circle have the same conversation. You need to take it out of your circle and include so many additional people to make a movement possible. It's hard. It's not easy work.
Did you see, do you know who Ben Mookie Thomas is?
No.
Ben Thomas, yeah. What'd Ben do?
Well, I was talking about them. He did he released the Spikes Tactical...
the Crusader. Did you guys hear the Crusader thing?
No. We're sheltered.
Oh, man.
Here's your homework.
Yeah.
Google Ben Thomas Google Spikes Tactical Crusader Rifle.
Okay. Oh, I have seen it.
He got
the AR-15 with the engraving on the side
with Psalm 124.
Yeah.
He successfully brought that conversation into a brand new group of people that have never ever even considered it. Probably.
Wow.
Yeah, that infuriated the Muslim apologists, and they even went so far as to say that it was hate speech. So, according to CAIR, Psalms. Quoting a verse of Psalms is hate speech.
My goodness.
I know.
Would you say the Council on Apologists
for Islam?
For Islamic reprobates?
For Islamic reprobates,
That's what it was, yeah.
I did say that, didn't I?
Did.
The Council for the Committee to Apologize for Islamic Reprobates. CAIR. Yeah. Write that down.
It's actually recording right now. Did you know that?
Yeah. Oh, is this recording right now?
People
Are we on? Are these microphones on?
People don't use pen and paper anymore. They use finger and touchscreen.
Oh, I thought we were just talking to ourselves. I didn't know anybody else could hear.
And then ink and
Never
paper.
mind.
And ink and paper.
All right, ladies.
Yeah.
Dead trees. I love dead trees. All right. Well, hey, thank you, Jim and Michelle and Jarrad and everybody else for joining us for the Gun Talk After Hour program. And I didn't even ask if I was allowed to say adult language, but I keep it clean because that's just me. I always keep it clean. Jarrad, do you want to remind people to join us at studentofthegun.com?
Yeah, they could do that. Join us at studentofthegun.com, studentofthegunradio.com. Check out the Facebook page for Gun Talk. And I can't get over that. The flamethrower picture. It's pretty
Flamethrower
cool.
Thursday?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But go to Gun Talk on Facebook, on Twitter, and Student of the Gun on Facebook and Twitter. We actually gave Professor Paul access to the Twitter account.
Yeah, they screwed up. They gave me access to the Twitter account.
Or a bad idea.
I could come back to haunt you.
All right, with that, I will close my mouth and I will talk to you again soon, hopefully.
It was fun, guys. Thanks. Great job, Paul.
All right, thanks a lot, Jim.
We'll see you later.
Tell your friends about the Gun Talk After Show, a more informal setting featuring Tom, Michelle, and Jim commenting on topics that are important to you. Available on iTunes and other podcatchers, and the Gun Dealio smartphone app for iPhone and Android.